Jake, tu padre siempre dijo que quería que fueras piloto.
Decía muchas cosas, pero yo no soy un héroe como él.
Los Kaiju volverán.
Well, it's your first big movie and you chose like the biggest.
Yes, the biggest I could possibly do.
I want to know if you had to face a challenge particularly difficult or focus on something that helped you to get everything smoothly.
The whole movie was a huge challenge. One of the biggest challenges was stepping into the shoes of the amazing Guillermo del Toro. I loved the first movie. I saw it the first weekend it came out. I've watched it many times on Blu-ray since then. So the biggest challenge for me was really honoring what Guillermo did, but also opening up the universe and really expanding the franchise. And one of the things I wanted to do was to make sure I took all the elements from the first movie that Guillermo so brilliantly set up, but also pushed it forward. And some of those things are, for instance, Guillermo did such a beautiful job shooting the action scenes at night in the rain, underwater. I didn't want to try to copy that. So in this movie, I really wanted to try to do all the action scenes during the day, which is technically much more difficult for the visual effects department. But it's been 5 years since the first movie, and with the advances in CGI, we were really able to tackle that.
In this movie, you chose also to bring young talents like Kaylee Spenny, I think it's said. Yeah, okay. I'd like to know why choosing like faces that we don't know, so young, and particularly how did you find her, because she sticks when you see the movie.
Yes. One of the things I wanted to explore in this movie was the idea of the next generation of Jaeger pilots. So for me, it made a lot of sense that the Pan-Pacific Defense Corps would try to train pilots that could drift with multiple partners. And the idea behind that is when you're young, you make very intense emotional connections. You make friendships a lot easier than you do when you get older and you start putting up walls. So I wanted this next generation of pilots with the idea that they've never been in combat, and they were going to get called up at the end of the movie. And part of that was an international feel. What Guillermo del Toro and Travis Beacham did in the first movie was so brilliant, the entire world coming together. So I wanted to have that in this movie with the cadets, so we just looked all over the world for them. And one of the hardest parts was Amara, which is the main cadet we follow. We looked everywhere for her, and we were in the last few days of casting. We were doing screen tests with John Boyega, and we got a tape from our casting director, and they said, look, this girl doesn't have any experience really. She put herself on tape, but she's pretty good. Take a look. And we looked at her and really liked her. And she had never done a movie. And so we put her together with John Boyega, and it was just magic. Their chemistry was so good. And Kaylee Spenny was so good that we took a chance and gave her this huge part in a giant movie as her first one, and she does an amazing job. We would often, at the end of a big day, we would look at each other and hug and laugh that this was both of our first movie was so gigantic, but she is a phenomenal find, and I can't wait for people to be introduced to her.
Well, I'm also a huge Buffy fan. I don't know if you heard a couple of days that a Fox executive said that they were frequently in conversations about doing a revival of the show. Would you like it to happen?
That's such a hard question. I mean, for me, Joss Whedon was Buffy the Vampire Slayer. His voice, his tone, he had such a unique voice. That said, I'm totally open to reintroducing a new generation to Buffy because I think it was such a fantastic show and such a fantastic idea. I just hope they keep the spirit of what Joss did.
Vaya, sí que es grande.
¡Disparad con todo lo que tengáis!